Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of 10 Minute Marketing. I'm your host, Sonja Crystal Williams. Well, joining me today is Alefiya Khoraki, and Alefiya is a funnel strategist and conversion and launch copywriter. Joining us, she's from or currently living in Mumbai, India. We'll get into that a little later about her travels. Thank you so much for being here, Alefiya.
I am super thrilled to be here and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So Alefiya and I met on one of my favorite places that I think if you are a business owner and you want to meet other business owners, you need to be on LinkedIn. And that's how Alefiya and I met. So she slid into my DMs. So, so anyway, Alefiya, I want to get into talking about quizzes and what funnels are, because for a lot of business owners, I feel like this is a missed opportunity that could really lead to them creating leads. So first, kind of break down for just someone who's completely unfamiliar with this terminology. What do we mean when we say quizzes? How does that apply to a business? And then how does that lead into a funnel? Go ahead and break that down for me.
Perfect. Okay, I love that question because as we can think like, oh, quizzes are so 2024, how can you not know about quizzes? But
Mm-hmm.
every day someone slides into my DM saying, enlighten me on this word. What does this mean? I'm like, okay, this means that there's a lot of brand awareness to do here.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what a quiz is basically, it can be different in different forms, but it's basically a challenge based or fun based questionnaire
Mm-hmm.
where you fill in, you get asked some questions, and then you give answer to those questions. Usually those are MCQs. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to type in manually any questions, so it's not a survey.
Okay.
They are pre-built questionnaires, and on the basis of those questions you get answers at the end. So there are three type of quizzes that I usually talk about. One is a score based quiz, which
Okay.
can be a challenge. I'll give an example for a client of mine. She had an e-commerce course, e-commerce email strategy course, and for her the quiz we created was we gave out 9 questionnaires of real e-commerce uh, email examples. And then we had like, okay, a mattress brand has XYZ things,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to solve X problem in their email marketing. Which strategy would you choose? And
Mm.
based on what their choices, they are given the scores. So it,
Okay.
it basically assesses their scoring system.
Okay.
But when I say that this is fun and challenging, the same thing could have been just like a survey.
Mm-hmm.
You start an email project, and what is the first thing you do? Do you audit the email sequence? Yes, no. Even that's a
Mm.
quiz.
Mm.
That's a quiz that do not get buzz, that do not get
Right.
hype, that do not get the right engagement that we are trying to create. So
Yep.
even that's a quiz, but those are not the good ones and
They
not
feel
the ones.
more educational or maybe too academic.
Yeah. And when you have those yes no quizzes,
Mm-hmm.
you can sense a pitch ahead that
Yeah.
okay, here she's going to tell me like, oh, I don't have auditing skills, here buy my audit or XYZ. So
Okay.
in that you can smell a pitch in from those yes no survey like questions.
Okay.
And that's where when people come to me with a quiz and they say like, hey Olivia, I did launch a quiz but it's not working,
Mm.
or I tried a quiz but it didn't work. I'm like, do you ask yes no questions? And they say yes. I'm like, there it
Mm.
is. That's the biggest breaker for me. Then there is a personality type quiz, which works phenomenally well for e-commerce businesses. And for example, an eyewear brand, you have 8 trends that are going on around eyewear, and then you're like, okay, which frame matches your personality? So A, you get to know about your personality. B, you're also knowing like what my fashion style is. So
Mm-hmm.
you take the quiz to find out your fashion style, what
Yeah.
fits you, and also about your personality. So people love learning about themselves and their
I love
personalities,
those.
and we can never get enough of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me what's my astrology sign, what does that mean? What
Yeah.
does my palm say? Even those petty ones, we love them.
Yeah.
And that's why quizzes and these personality quizzes work so well. Then the third is diagnostic quizzes, which are
Okay.
usually used for hospitals, firms, or where like actual serious brands. and where we are auditing something that we want we want the consumer to be aware of something that they are not aware of.
Okay.
So this for like if you're talking about stages of awareness, so
Mm-hmm.
stages of awareness is you, only 3% of buyers are in that most aware stage where they will buy your product. But the
Right.
other 97, they either they are not even aware of the problem, or
Mm-hmm.
they're not aware of you as a solution.
Okay.
So you want to make them, so that awareness is built through quizzes. That's why the diagnostic quizzes are the ones that we use for people where some sort of educational element is involved. With
Okay.
e-commerce, we use personality stuff. With SaaS, also we use diagnostic stuff,
Okay.
diagnostic quizzes. And the last one was score challenges. So
Okay.
that's where a little fun element has to be there.
Yeah. So the industry that a business owner or the person that's responsible maybe for the digital marketing aspect may depend or determine which quiz type is going to make the most sense. Even if they already have quizzes, maybe the conversions could be better. So that leads to a couple of questions or thoughts I had as you were saying that. One thought was, when I think of this, I definitely have been one of those people to take the style quizzes. So I'm definitely, I enjoy those. It also makes me think about back in the day, pen and paper, when we used to read magazines, how there would be those diagnostic type of quizzes in magazines, and they would have a scoring system and say, well, if you scored between 1 and 5, you fall into this category. If you scored between 6 and 10, you fall into this category. What's beautiful though now is in a digital world, we now can get a lead from that. So, one question to you is, where does the lead capture happen in the quiz process? So, if
Okay.
I am the visitor to go and take your quiz, do I enter my email address first? Is it the last thing I do? Like, where does that fit into this process?
It depends from industry to industry,
Okay.
but with e-commerce quizzes, sometimes what we do is we ask for the email in the second question. We
Okay.
ask for the name in the first one and the email in the second one, and we make it in a way that we want to personalize. Then after that, it will change. Like before that, I'm not addressing you by your name.
Yeah.
But after that question, I'm like, "Hi, Sonia. You mentioned the XYZ, and now it tells me about this. Like, you have this type of mattress. So in all the questions moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
I'm addressing you by your name. So it
Okay.
becomes extremely personalized. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one way to go for it. And
Okay.
the second way is we ask for the email just before, like they finish the questions, and then they're just like, "Oh, what am I? What am I?" And
Yeah.
then before that, there's is like, okay, just that one last step. So
Okay.
we capture their email there. Yeah.
Okay. So it could be, yeah, as you say that, that kind of reminds me of one I took where they said, okay, we're going to provide your results, provide us your email, and we'll send you an email with the results. And then you provide the email, they give you the results instantly on screen, but they also
Yeah.
email you with
Yeah. And
information.
I prefer that. So I
Okay.
always say that never do not like never say that, okay, when they enter their email address, never have another page where they say, okay, now go to your email service provider and then check, like then get your results, like there
Okay.
and there, give them the results. Because then from a UX perspective, you might frustrate the customer, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we are signing up for emails from a different email address and we're
Mm-hmm.
using a different email address.
Okay.
So, like, suppose if I'm surfing my phone, I'm surfing this quiz on my phone. That's my personal email address, and I
Yeah.
prefer getting these promotional emails on my work email address. I
Yeah.
still open them, but now if you're saying like check your work email, that
Mm-hmm.
work email might be just on my laptop, but
Mm-hmm.
you're asking me to go there, and then you're not even giving me the results.
Yeah.
So you frustrate the customer. So don't do that. Give them the results immediately, and have something else on the results page that leads them to the email.
Okay.
So the e-commerce course example I gave you, we had a 50 pager PDF where we broke down what, like where the right strategy is the right strategy, and
Mm-hmm.
where even the wrong ones could be the right ones in which scenario. And then
Mm-hmm.
we also had a webinar where that person taught her students on how to get more clients through that webinar. So people were like anyway they it would be top of their mind, and they
Mm-hmm.
did rush to the PDFs to check the PDFs, like why did I get the wrong answer or whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
then they did open the email. But we did not frustrate them. We gave
Yeah.
them the results, and it was a choice to go to that email, right?
Yes.
Now it becomes a choice. Now it doesn't become like a frustration. With e-commerce, you can say like, okay, I sent this, and now you this is your style, and now I've curated a personal Pinterest board that matches your style, and you'll get that via email.
Mm-hmm.
So now I am prompt, like now I have the habit of opening your email.
Yeah. How do business owners approach that results part? And you gave a few great examples. So one would be they get a PDF file back. And it seems like there might be groupings, I guess, of results where they might have, like, if I have a PDF file, it's not going to be everyone gets the same file, but maybe there's a few different groupings. Like, could you explain, like, what does that look like for
Like,
results?
this is like 3 days ago, I delivered a 90-minute masterclass just on
Oh,
this.
okay, so
So
we're going to
it's
deliver this, and
yeah,
everyone needs to get in touch with you if they
I'll
want
try
the
my
long
best
answers. Yeah.
to make it bite size.
Okay.
So the cliche answer is it depends,
Yeah.
and then the longer answer is that usually we have different groupings.
Okay.
So we have different, like, either if you're doing a personality type,
Mm-hmm.
we can take in human design into the
Okay.
perspective, and people have assertive traits. Some people have more softer, calmer, peaceful side. So we
Mm-hmm.
usually take into human design into consideration, so that we can win their trust and likability from that first section. The first section is not to sell, it's just like I am describing you so much in detail that you
Mm-hmm.
think like this is some like how we do, I usually take astrology for example here,
Mm-hmm.
that when that's super relevant, so relevant that you think that this has to make sense, like this
Mm-hmm.
is it. Like, that's how horoscopes are made. They're relevant to everyone. Like today you'll see the light and you'll have that and that. So it's so
Yeah.
particular and so specific. So specificity is there. Like just
Okay.
before this call, I was consulting someone on a travel quiz, and where she had like, what's your personality style, and what type of river cruise would I recommend based on that personality style, like what's your
Mm-hmm.
traveling style. And there she said that one of you prefer luxury. And then it was just there, like, you are a person of luxury. I was like, no, go specific. Like,
Mm-hmm.
tell them not just in travel, but how their day to day life reflects luxury. Like, whenever you go to the supermarket to choose wine, you don't
Mm-hmm.
even look to that bottom shelf. And you're always like that elite person. You're the Harvey Specter who would never settle for the random tailor suits. Your
Yeah.
suits are from XYZ brand, and you're someone who just walks and talks class. So why shouldn't your travel experience reflect your personality? And then you take them. So when you're telling them, so you're telling them about themselves,
Yeah.
but what you want is that trust, that smile, that likability, that nod, that they
Got
are
it.
like, okay, this is amazing, I like that. Like,
Yeah.
I know that. And you're kind of like fulfilling their personalities.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So quizzes can build trust, is one
like,
of the things I've heard. In some cases, specificity is super helpful because it makes it more relatable. And then, and these are really just great sales tactics in general, even though the idea is not to make the person feel like they're being sold to.
yeah,
And so that's really important too. And then some personalization in some cases can also
in
make a
all
difference.
cases, in all
Okay. Okay.
cases. So like in this case,
Yeah.
if it wasn't a quiz, it would be like, okay, you're going to a quiz cruise, and I would show all the ways that you can enjoy a cruise. But why this makes it super personalized is
Mm-hmm.
because each of them is getting a tailored cruise experience according to their travel personality style.
Mm-hmm.
If you're adventurous, you're getting an itinerary just for that adventurous. And the whole reason why quizzes and the sales part is so effective after the quiz is
Mm-hmm.
because it's literally me. It's not speaking to five different types of people. It's me, legit me. So it's like,
Right.
okay, this is made for me. This is just literally what I want. And this
Right.
speaks to my personality. So let's just do it.
So this question might throw you on the spot, and if you don't have an answer, that's totally fine. But just curious of when people, let's say they end up on a landing page to take a quiz, and we know like average open rate on an email campaign is, 23 or 20 to 25%. Average open rate on text messaging campaigns could be 90+%. For quizzes, what would you guesstimate, or if you have like an actual accurate based on at least your experience with your clients, like how many people actually see the quiz and then they take the quiz?
Okay, love that question. And this is what I talk about. Like average lead magnet conversion rate is
Mm-hmm.
around 3% to 30%, and
Mm,
30% being the highest.
yeah.
And with quizzes, this is according to ConvertKit.
Okay.
With quizzes, the average conversion rate starts from the 30% is the lowest. So that's
Mm.
why even the most like yucky type quizzes on the internet, they still
I'm gonna
perform.
get leads.
Yeah, they are still like it starts from 30%. So
Okay.
the quiz average is 30% to 55-ish%. What
Okay.
and that is like those yes no surveys, and even that is falling in this range. The
Okay.
quizzes I've done for clients, we've seen above 75%.
Wow.
So if 100 people are coming in, 75% to 90% people are
Hmm.
taking that quiz,
Huge.
because what we just don't have that like only one pager snippet, which usually people only have that one pager like take this quiz. What
Hmm.
we also do is we create like we treat it like a sales page. So
Okay.
we start with a problem or a dream state, and then we say like this is the context of your life right now, and this is the question that is on top of your mind.
Hmm.
Like, shall I buy a home in Yorkshire or shall I buy a home in London? Like
Hmm.
that's the question on your, and that's the answer that you'll get after taking the quiz.
Okay.
So and then what we also do is like below like in the what do you call it, like, after the folds in the
Yeah.
next sections, we also break them down on what they will get after they take the quiz. So
Okay.
they will get PDF, they will get this Pinterest board. So it also compels them to take the quiz, not just for the answer, but
Hmm.
also for the next lead magnet. Because
Okay.
here's the thing that people miss: quizzes are great lead gen magnet, but
Hmm.
they're only attraction magnets.
Yeah.
They just attract interest.
So
But
top of
now,
the funnel, somewhere up there.
very
Yeah.
top of the funnel, very top of the funnel. Like if you just leave a quiz and then you just leave a results page and then you ask them to open like go to the email, it will not work. You need
Okay.
to have that conversion magnet in between, which
Hmm.
can be a webinar, which can be a PDF, which can be
Okay.
a book, which can be like a video campaign, which can be some, like if you're talking about e-commerce businesses, it could be some special discounts, or some special boxes, gift boxes, whatever it is. There
Hmm.
has to be something more on the results page than just delivering the information.
Wow. So, and I'm going to get down to asking you a few final questions. So, one is, and you've kind of brought this to light, but for people who are really new to quizzes, these quizzes should be built on a landing page. Should that landing page live on their website? Should it be hosted by some external software?
So you'll need an external software to host a quiz, unless you have like a super huge marketing budget and you want to
Hmm.
build that software yourself, like Omo Health did.
Hmm.
Then feel free to do everything by yourself, but you'll need an external software. The
Okay.
softwares I love the best are Interact,
Hmm.
Typeform, and ScoreApp. I
Okay.
really like these three softwares. They're very easy to use. Typeform has a video element. Interact is amazing with GIFs and images, and then Score app is the only quiz software which can make personalized diagnosis in each problem sector.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those three. And you can host your, so if you're hosting the whole landing page on Interact, the landing page will show Interact. So what you can do is host the landing page on your website, like if you're using Squarespace, or what is that, WordPress.
WordPress. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use WordPress, and whatever you want to use, you can use that. And then
Hmm.
then you just embed the quiz on your site,
Okay.
so you don't have that watermark or that um, URL of that quiz software coming in. So that's what I recommend. You host it all in house. But if you're like super starting out, doing under 5K a month, and you want
Hmm.
to just like outsource everything. So
Hmm.
host it on the quiz software, and then when your budget grows, host it on your uh, domain.
Got it. And budget wise, what you do is come in. What are the parts that you handle on the quiz side of things? Do you handle it from top to bottom or come in and do a specific aspect?
So I have different tiers,
Mm-hmm.
and the first tier that we work with is we start with research. So it's like it's a non-negotiable. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be done. It has to be done really well. So we spend like 2 weeks to 3 weeks on that, and that includes surveying your buyers, the one who didn't buy, your negative, the people who wrote like negative comments,
Mm-hmm.
your competitors, conducting interviews, maybe some guerrilla researches, then also discussions like going on surveys and forums, Amazon reviews, YouTube
Mm-hmm.
reviews. All that process is done, and it's very crucial because you have to use your customers' words when you're talking to them. So research, then research report, offer optimization, because if you don't have a good enough offer
Mm-hmm.
and you're leading that quiz to that offer, it will not convert. So even
Mm-hmm.
that's important. Offer optimization. Then we also do story scraping. So we
Okay.
meet with the founder and we scrape their stories because we want to create, like in 2024, just pain point marketing is not working. Like, hey, you have this problem, that we need to surround that problem in an ecosystem of stories. So
Mm-hmm.
we do story scraping and then we get to the writing. So with the writing, I write the quiz landing page, the quiz, the results pages, the emails, everything that goes into the quiz ecosystem. And then that's the first package. Then if they want, we do the implementation and design as well.
Okay.
The second package. Yeah.
This is way more thought out than I ever imagined. And I love how you broke it down in such a short period of time because I've been on Interact, I've been on Typeform, and they have those quiz templates and they make it look so easy. But the way you've just described it, it seems like you could get way more out of this by taking the approach that you just outlined. So I want to thank you so much for that, Alefiya. Um, I
Thanks so
always
much.
like to end every episode sharing a little bit about you in our lightning round. So I'm just going to ask you a few quick final questions as we wrap things up. One of the conversations you and I had previously was just about your extensive travels and just such an interesting background and all the things you've done. You shared you've lived a few places around the world. What has been one of your favorite places that you've lived so far and why?
Nairobi.
Okay.
I love Nairobi. One reason, it has the perfect weather all around the year.
Oh, wow.
So it's like not super cold, it never
Okay.
snows, but it's like that perfect chilly where you just have the comfiest night every single night.
Hmm.
And you can just see my smile widening and widening on the name of
Right.
Nairobi. Yeah, and
Thank
the atmosphere is amazing, the greenery. Then
you.
you get wildlife every now and then. I love animals and jungle, so you
Hmm.
get to experience like Masai Mara, whatever it is, every now and then, whenever you want it. Some crazy jungle experiences, which if you want to know, you can hit me up and I'll share some lion photos and rhinoceros
Wow.
chasing us photos and all that. So yeah, Nairobi. I love Nairobi.
Nairobi. Okay, on my list to go. And while you were in Nairobi, I think you shared with me in a previous life. I always say in a previous life when you did something completely different to what you do now, but you mentioned you owned a bakery. So did you just jump right into this world of digital marketing and quizzes and funnels like from owning a bakery, or was there some kind of step in between?
Yeah, it's different for all of us. So I was, when I started this business, I was still on my, like in my final year of graduation. So I'm
Okay.
24, and this is what I did when I was 19. So COVID
Okay.
hits, and I was like, okay, I really need a hobby,
Hmm.
along with my university classes, which was just there in the morning. So let me just do something, and I wanted to save 800 USD
Hmm.
for a university event. And I was
Okay.
like, it held a lot of meaning to me, so I didn't want to be a spoiled brat and just get it from my dad. So let me
Okay.
just find ways to earn this money. So at first, I started with baking cheese, homemade cheese, and then my mother was like, "I don't think this is gonna pick up." So then I was trying different things, and I loved baking. But no one at my, like, we were only four people at our house, and it was COVID, so no one ate. So I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, I need to find people who can eat it,
Yeah.
and I need to find the budget to make good stuff so that
Hmm.
um I don't wipe out all my mother's grocery budget." So that's
Sure.
how the bakery was born. My brother is a photographer, So we
Okay.
had that edge where the branding was super luxurious and the photos were super fancy. So that's what kept the eyes like I was a loot. My mother and father was like, you loot people. So I charged like around $200-$300 for a cake and
Uh-huh.
around $100 for a brownie tray. And
Wow.
whereas the normal price there was $30. But
Okay.
just
Okay.
because of that
The
photography, I was able to do it.
luxury. Yeah. Perceived
And that's
luxury.
where I got into marketing. So I used to I figured out this whole Instagram thing because I was running my campaigns on there. And then a
Mm-hmm.
friend helped me with Facebook ad campaigns. And I was really enjoying the marketing side. Like so much so that I wanted to stop doing like outsource the bakery part and just
Mm-hmm.
keeping doing the marketing campaigns. And someone introduced me, like they had a virtual online marketing seminar. I went to that and then I got hooked, and a lot of events happened which would take another 10 minutes, so
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't matter to you all. But then I came to India and I had like 40-60 days to do nothing. My husband, I just got married, and my
Mm-hmm.
husband went for a pilgrimage, and that's where I was like, okay, let me just brainstorm ways on what I can do. So I started off by cold emailing people on, can I be your bakery startup consultant? And no one responded. And then one thing led to another. I started with LinkedIn marketing,
Mm-hmm.
then funnels. So I did funnels for one of the biggest names on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
um, end-to-end launches and end-to-end funnels. And then in March this year, I had one quiz project, and it was like it just landed like out of the blue,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a quiz project, and it got these 75 to 80% conversions, whereas we were getting 30 to 40% average. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this is something different. And then I had another project, and I was like, hey, this just happened, and I can't guarantee any results, but I think that this is something interesting and we can try it. And then it crossed, like it was above more than 80%. And I was
Wow.
okay, this is not beginner's luck. Something's clicking. And
Yeah.
that's what led me to niche down into quizzes. So now my whole team, everyone is just doing quizzes. And then
Mm-hmm.
if the repeat clients wants help with funnels, we do that as well. And the thing that's why I talked about offer optimization
Mm-hmm.
and having the right funnel in place is because I've done funnels, I can look at the larger picture
Yeah.
of where the quiz fits into the funnel.
Yeah. Very huge. Congratulations on such wonderful success. How can people get in touch with you if they want to get more information about your services or just see the lion photos?
I live and breathe on LinkedIn. So
Hmm.
you can find me on LinkedIn, Alefiya
Okay.
Khoraki, Alefiya Khoraki. And yeah, I'll mostly like respond within 24 hours.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Olivia, thank you so much for being our guest today. We may have to do a part two sometimes. Really good information, everyone. Find Olivia on LinkedIn. Until then, bye, everybody.